All right, here we go. Side X is this little chunk down here. Remember that if you took the short side on top, right, you actually end up with two stretches, right? These are the same. So what we're going to do is take the 55, right? So X is 55 minus 30, and that is split into two parts. So that would be 25 divided by 2. So it's 12.5 feet. 1.5 marks for that. I would say if you forgot to divide by 2, then it's -1. Okay, because that's important. If you don't, you will realize that, wait a minute, how come my leg is longer than the hypotenuse, right? Like it should have hopefully kicked in at some point. What's the height of this quadrilateral? So we want this. So if you need to do this, actually not a bad idea. So we have all of this. That is one of the legs here. So to find the height, we go hypotenuse squared minus 12.5 squared. You can't get a negative in the root, right? That gives you 68.75 inside the root, and when you square root it, you get 8.29 feet. 2 decimals minimum. If you did more than that, you don't lose marks, as long as you round it correctly. With money amounts, it has to be 2. Anything else, if you want to go more than 2, be my guest. All right. 1.5 for that. And obviously, if you got A wrong, then this will be different. So I would go step check. However, if you stuck with 25, you should have realized that you will get a negative here inside the root, right? So then I would take marks off again, right? If something happened there. The measure of angle F, that's this angle right here. Okay, so I have a pair here. Sorry, I have a pair here, and I can find this angle because now I have height. That's how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to go sine of 90, this one, divided by 15, right? Is equal to sine of F over the height, which is 8.29. So sine of F, I was talking to another teacher, and he was saying that his students had a hard time figuring this out. I'm pretty sure, like, you guys are pretty good at this, right? But anyways, it's cross multiply, and the sine of 90 is just 1, so it's just there looking pretty, right? So it's sine inverse of, when you multiply this out, you get 0.55, 0.552, and that keeps going. So angle F ends up being 33.55. A mark and a half for that. And obviously, if you got a different answer for the height, we would not take off marks again, as long as you show me the work and that you're using it correctly. Next, name this quadrilateral. It's not just an isosceles, it's an isosceles trapezoid, okay? 1 mark for that. DE, side DE, that's just this one here, right? On this side, it's 15 feet. Half a mark for that. Okay. Calculate the value of angle C. You should realize that C and F, there's a relationship between these two angles. Remember, I told you to do that on your in your notes. So C is talking about the whole thing here, right? And C and F are supplementary. They add up to 180. So I'm just going to say that angle C is 180 minus 33.55. And and that is 146.45. Now, I have a feeling that some of you, I'm just going to show you, some of you probably thought by C I mean just this one, right? So take off half a mark when that happens, but normally if I just want that sliver, I would have to use a 3-letter notation, right? If it's just C, like let's say you have, a bunch of angles here, and I just say C, right? It's like, well, C is the whole thing, right? In this case, it's actually 180 degrees, right? So C is usually everything that's at that intersection. So we'll give you half a mark for that, but it should technically be 146.45. If you didn't see this, right? If you did not see this or couldn't remember it, I know that some of you use sum of triangle, right? You have the 90, you have the 33.55. So you get a little sliver here, right? What is it? 56 something, right? Then you just add the 90 because this is a 90 here. So the 90 plus the 56 still gives you this angle right here, okay? And you know what? I've seen students do all kinds of fancy different ways of getting there, and that's fine. As long as you're close to this, right? Sometimes you're off because of the rounding. When I make these things, I don't use 3 decimals like the original would, right? So state the value of angle E and D, and there it's really just stating it, guys, right? We know that E here on this side is going to measure the same thing as F, and D is the same thing as C, right? So we go here and say that angle E is 33.55 for me, right? Whatever you got for angle F, right? Same as angle F. And angle D is for, in my case, it should be this, but it's the same as whatever you got for angle C. So we'll give you marks there. I'll honor it, right? So take off half if you got 56.45 up here, right? Calculate the area of this quadrilateral. Area. This is a pain to mark, I know, because if you make a mistake upstream, it follows you wherever you go, right? So it's, but if you show me that you're, the steps, then you're still fine. So area is A plus B, right? Short side plus long side times the height, all of that divided by 2. So this is 85 times 8.29 divided by 2. You get 352.33 square feet. 352.33. Obviously, if you got your height wrong, then this will be different, but I would still give you the mark for the step on this particular question. Okay, so this page is worth 9 marks. Okay. All right, now the trickier one, backside. Well, maybe not, I don't know. Some of you like trapezoids, some of you like kites, some of you like none of them, right? None of the above. So let's go to the back classify. If you have 2 angles, you can easily find the third. So just show me a little bit of work, right? So 180 minus 51 minus 38, that is 91 degrees, right? So we have 91. If the 91 shows up there, I'm good, I'm fine. Being all different and having one bigger than 90, this would be obtuse scalene. 1 mark for this one. On this side, please don't just say, oh, it kind of looks obtuse, right? I give you enough information. This question is worth 2 marks. So you are going to inspect You're going to pick the longest side and inspect this one here, which you call something, call it A, right? So cosine of A would be 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 6 squared. 2 times 3 times 4. You do the top, you get minus 11 or negative 11 over 24. You can stop there because I'm not asking you for the angle. If you do the work, right? If you do the work and you want to make sure you got it right, that's 117.28. Okay, so if you did do the work, it doesn't hurt. But at this point, you say it's obtuse. If this had been 0, then we know this is a right angle. If this had been positive, we know this is an acute angle. Right? The largest angle is acute, so the whole thing is acute. So obtuse, scalene. There we go. So 1 mark for showing a little bit of work, and another mark for naming it. Fun stuff, eh? All right. The measure of DAB, angle DAB, right? So DAB, it's asking for this one. That's 105, okay? Do you know your kites, right? That's basically what I'm asking. The measure of angle ABC, where is that? ABC, that's the top one here that they want. I don't know, I feel like here we're gonna go separate ways, but this is what I would have suggested. Angle ABC, you remember that all quadrilaterals add up to 360? You take away the 105, another 105, you take away the 40 down here. That is actually 110. 110. Okay? So if you did it this way, some students see a 90 here, right? There's 90s all around. And then they go, I can split this and make this 20 and this 20. Sure, you can. And then 20 and 90, right? That's 110. So that makes this 70, just this. And so they find their way up there. Sure, it should still be 110. Okay? So keep that in mind. All right, BD. This one, it's the long diagonal here, the dashed line going right across. So allow me to just fill in, right? If this is 20, that's 20, this is 50. I'm going to slice that and just show you how I would do it. Right? I will take the 20, I will take the 50, and this is 105. I can call this X, right? Don't mark it wrong yet. You're probably right if you did it a different way. Okay, X squared is 20 squared plus 50 squared, and it's 2 times 20 times 50. Cosine of 105. I think this should be 3,417.63 dot dot dot. That gives you 5846. You got that?
Yeah, but I don't make it easier.
You got the same thing different way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what I'm going to address here. Some of you probably found this chunk here, and you may have called this X, and found maybe this bottom chunk and called it Y, and then added them up. You should still be within the ballpark of this. That's a lot of work though for 1.5 marks, right? So keep that in mind. 1.5. So I would say you either have it or you don't, right? So 1.5 if you got it, minus 1.5 if you didn't. Classify the shape, so that'd be obviously a kite. Let's finish and then we'll do the bonus, okay? So there's a parallelogram. What's wrong? There's identified 2 mistakes, 2 things that were done wrong. explain though, right? So you can say, hey, there should not be, the diagonals are not perpendicular, right? So diagonals are not perpendicular. You can also say diagonals do not meet at 90 degrees, okay? And then the next one could be that this is telling us that the diagonals are the same, okay? They're like cutting each other in half and they're the same. So diagonals are not congruent, okay? That was another mistake that was made. So to clarify this, you would erase the right angle and you would make the longer diagonal. Both of them cut each other in half. That is true, but they're not all the same. That would have to be a rhombus. A rhombus has, no, a rectangle. Rectangle, yes. Parallelogram, no. Square rectangle, yes. Not a parallelogram. So as is, this is worth 9 marks for the back side as well. And now I'm going to do the bonus. So if you did the bonus, great. If not, no big deal. So here it is. For the area, let me see where I do this. For the area, you need to take the long diagonal, multiply it by the short diagonal, divide that by 2. I already have the long one here. I need to find the short one here. I'm going to use this bottom triangle to do that. So watch. I'm going to call this Y. This is 50. You need to know this kind of stuff for tomorrow though, right? So 50, 50. This is 40. And so you can use that cosine law to find Y. So Y squared is 50 squared plus 50 squared minus 2 times 50 times 50 times cosine of 40. You get, gotta look at my key here. You get 1169.777, keeps going. Y is 3420. 3277 if you did it from the top. 3277. Yeah. So that's my bad. We're in yards. So I would give you one bonus, like a +1, if you found a short diagonal. Here it is, guys. 3277 is also acceptable. And you're like, why? Why? If you use the 20, 20, and the 110 here, you actually get 3277. So both of you get the mark, okay, the bonus mark. And now you have the long and the short diagonal. You can plug it in here. I will just give you the answer. You get 999.67 squared yards. And I have to do the other one because I figured that out later on. $957.87 squared yards. So you get another bonus. I'm going to circle this or fence it in, I guess. That's another +1. And short diagonal is another +1. So you can get 11 out of 9 on the back side there. So 9 and 9 gives you 18, all right? Your head is hurting, I know.